What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are going to continue our coverage over the Dawn of X era of X-Men comics, and we are actually going to pick up with Giant Size X-Men Fantomex. Now, this is huge because when it comes to Jonathan Hickman, he has been kind of telling us a different story in the Giant Size X-Men books. So like Jean Grey, Emma Frost, Nightcrawler, and now this one. This is next in line in his story that he has been telling us across the Giant Size X-Men books. Now, when it comes to Fantomex, he's a character that has been around since the early 2000s. Now, with that being said, though, when he first appeared, I want to say he was created by Grant Morrison. But with Grant Morrison, what he did was, when it came to Wolverine, Wolverine was always known as Weapon X, some kind of code name. But then you have Grant Morrison. I have no idea why I said Grant Morrison. But Grant Morrison took the idea of Weapon X and said, no, it wasn't just a code name. It was also meaning that Wolverine was the 10th project in that organization known as Weapon Plus, meaning that there were 9 other projects before Wolverine. And matter of fact, Steve Rogers' Captain America was the first project, the Super Soldier. Emma Frost was also part of Weapon Plus. But when it came to Fantomex, he was Weapon 13, a new kind of project. And so this is Jonathan Hickman kind of reworking the origin of Fantomex, but at the same time kind of going back over the origin of Fantomex. And you see what I mean as we go through this entire book right now. And so getting into the opening pages of Giant Size X-Men Fantomex, we actually do pick up in the past. Now, we have no idea how far back in the past we are at the moment, but we do know that we do pick up in some kind of facility. And this facility is right now working on a very special kind of project, where of course they are creating life. And when I say life, I mean different kind of human babies. Now, these babies are going to be special, but when it comes to this project, each baby is supposed to be different from one another. But that is the moment you do have one of the scientists point out to their leader that 2 of the babies are exactly the same. And this is huge because then you have the lead scientist say, okay, we cannot have 2 babies in this experiment be exactly the same. And so with that, that means one has to go away and we'll keep the other one here. And of course, the one that got sent away is, of course, Fantomex, meaning that the other baby could have been a twin of Fantomex, but that other baby got the chance to stay with the scientists as they continue on with their experiment. But that is the moment we actually do jump forward 1 decade where we actually pick up with Fantomex. Now, this is the book basically telling us that the other baby that got thrown away earlier was Fantomex himself. Now, with that being said, we actually do pick up with Fantomex right now with the Howling Commandos. Now, I'm not surprised that Jonathan Hickman is using the Howling Commandos in this storyline. And the reason why I'm not surprised, because when it comes to the Howling Commandos, they were a group of military soldiers that did different missions across the world. But of course, they were being led by no other than Nick Fury. And the reason why I'm not surprised that Jonathan Hickman is using these characters is because he wrote a S.H.I.E.L.D. book back in the early 2000s. But either way, though, you do have Fantomex asking the Howling Commandos for help with a certain kind of mission. And this mission is to break into something called the world. And the world has been around for a good period of time of Marvel Comics. Now, when it comes to the world is a concept that we have seen so many times in Marvel Comics. And what I mean is that when it comes to the world, it is this random facility that's right in the middle of England. I want to say England, but I could be wrong. But with that being said, when it comes to the world, it's basically a facility that is running different kinds of experiments. Now, here's the big catch though. Inside the world, time moves moves differently. So in the outside world, if we say only 5 minutes have passed by, inside the world, it could have been like decades have passed by. And the reason why time moves differently is because of those experiments. They are running so many different experiments, they want to see how each one would come out at the end of their trial. Now, with that being said, the reason why Fantomex and the Howling Commandos are working together is because Fantomex wants something that is deep inside the world. Now, I do want to mention that Fantomex actually does come from the world. He is one of the many experiments that were made inside the world. But with that being said, though, the reason why Fantomex had brought the Howling Commandos is because he's going to use them as bait, because inside the world, there are a bunch of robots that were made to defend the place. And so he needs some bait to basically keep those robots busy as he kind of works his way into the middle of the world. Now, once you have Fantomex being able to make it into the center of the world, that is the moment he is confronted by a young boy. Now, we have no idea who this young boy is, but you do have Fantomex actually ask this young boy, is he ready to leave? The boy says no, because he is working on different things, meaning that he's working on different kinds of experiments. And we're left to believe that this boy could possibly be the AI system of the world. But then we jump 1 decade later, where we actually pick up with Fantomex right now meeting up with the Hellfire Club. Now, at this point in the Marvel's timeline, when it comes to the Hellfire Club, they were bad guys. And matter of fact, they would constantly fight against the X-Men in the early days of Marvel Comics. And matter of fact, they were being led by Sebastian Shaw. But with that being said, though, you have Fantomex actually making the deal with the Hellfire Club, because right now he is asking for their help. Now, this is very similar to what happened to the Howling Commandos, where right now you have Fantomex making the deal with the Hellfire Club, but in reality, he's using them as a way to be bait, because the Hellfire Club believes that once they get inside the world, anything they find, they can take with them, as long as Fantomex is able to get inside the world and get what he wants. But anything else they find, the Hellfire Club can take. Now, with that being said, though, as soon as they get inside, you do have the Hellfire Club and Fantomex get attacked by the world, because once again, the world had made more robots as a way to protect the place. And so with that being said, you actually have the world robots attack the Hellfire Club. But again, Fantomex brought them here to be bait. And so while the robots are fighting against the Hellfire Club, you actually have Fantomex continue on to go deeper into the world, where once again, he's confronted by that same boy. But that boy we saw earlier is now a man. And you actually have Fantomex ask him one more question, the same question. Are you ready to leave? And you have the man say, no, I am not ready to leave because I have to raise more children, meaning that there are actually children inside the world that has to be raised by the world. And right now, this man is saying he is trying to raise those children. Now, the man did tell Fantomex to actually stay away, and so we do get one page where another decade has passed by, and matter of fact, Fantomex did not go back to the world. He actually did stay away like the man inside the world told him to do. And so we see Fantomex right now just chilling on a beach, having a drink, and minding his business. And so another decade passed by where we actually pick up with Fantomex right now with another group of characters who are about to help him get back inside the world. Now, this group of characters are actually only made for this book right here because their names are the Humongonuts, and I really hope I pronounced that name correctly. But like I said, this is their only appearance in Marvel Comics ever. Well, what I saw online. But either way, though, you do have this group right now helping Fantomex get back inside the world. Now, of course, with this group right here, this is the book basically telling us that this group is not as good as the Howling Commandos are, the Hellfire Club. And the reason why I say that, because this time Fantomex is unable to actually get deep into the world. Matter of fact, he was only able to pass one door, and that is it. Because the group he brought, they're easily taken out in a matter of seconds. And so with that group being taken out, that means Fantomex is unable to move deeper into the world, because every group he brought, they were used as bait. But with this group, yes, they were used as bait, but they were taken out so easily. That means he was unable to go deeper into the world. Now, of course, you do have Fantomex leave, but as he's leaving, he is confronted by that man we saw earlier. And you have the man kind of tell us what Fantomex is trying to do, which is that Fantomex apparently wants to shut down the world. But you do have the world fighting against Fantomex. And you have this man tell Fantomex that, do you not understand what we're trying to do? We're trying to do something amazing here, and all you want to do is just shut us down, which tells us that Fantomex is trying to shut down the world. But again, we have no idea why. But then another decade passed by, and with another decade passing by, we actually pick up with Fantomex right now, meeting up with Wolverine and Cyclops. Now, this is not Wolverine's first time meeting up with Fantomex. Matter of fact, they met a while back ago. But with that being said, this is Cyclops' first time meeting Fantomex. But with that being said, the reason why Wolverine and Cyclops are here is because Fantomex asked Wolverine for help, but then Wolverine asked Cyclops for help. And so, of course, now you have a three-man team trying to break into the world once again, so that Fantomex is able to actually get into the center of the world, which this time this group does better than the last group, meaning that Fantomex is actually able to get to the center of the world. Now, in the past, Fantomex has always been confronted by that same man, but this time the man looks actually different, and this man is now wearing some kind of power suit. But with that being said, you have this man actually upset with the idea that the world failed, that apparently this man has been inside the world for so long and has been trying to keep the world alive and keep it going, that now he failed. And with the world failing, with him failing, he feels like he should turn this world into some kind of prison for himself for basically failing. But then we finally reach the present day, where we actually pick up with Fantomex right now, meeting up with an AIM agent. Now remember, AIM stands for Advanced Idea Mechanics. It is one of the many evil organizations in Marvel Comics. But with that being said, this group is more about science and doing different kind of experiments and to see what happened with those experiments. But with that being said though, at this point in the Marvel timeline, apparently AIM had bought out the world, meaning that if Fantomex wants access to the world, he has to pay a lot of money to AIM to get access to the world. Now, the reason why Fantomex wants access to the world is completely different than the other times, because that is the moment you actually have Storm, Jean Grey, and other X-Men characters actually confront Fantomex. And the reason why, because they want access to the world. And this is where you have Jonathan Hickman continue his story that he started back in Giant Size X-Men, Emma Frost, and Jean Grey. And what I mean is that at the end of that book right there, Jean Grey and Emma Frost found out that apparently Storm is going to die, that Storm has some kind of virus, and apparently the cure for that virus is inside the world. And so that is why they came to Fantomex, to hopefully find a cure for Storm, to hopefully save her life. But with that being said, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I do hope you enjoy today's comic book video. Later, guys.